All right, welcome back to another explainer. I'm your host, and as a seasoned commercial security contractor, today I'm basically taking you on a virtual site walk of your own commercial property. We're going to be talking about hardening that storefront, protecting your inventory, and, just helping you sleep a whole lot better at night. But we are zeroing in on a specific and surprisingly misunderstood debate in the security world: interior versus exterior security shutters. Most folks assume they know exactly which one they need before they even take a hard look at their property. Well, today, we're going to completely change how you view your own storefront.
And it all comes down to this golden rule of storefront security. I really want you to keep this in your back pocket throughout our whole walkthrough today. You don't force a security system onto a building. The building decides. I see property owners waste so much time, and honestly, so much money, fighting their facades, trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. If you just learn to listen to the physical constraints of your retail space, the right choice literally becomes glaringly obvious.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Because there is this massive, pervasive myth in the industry that interior shutters are somehow second tier. A lot of business owners genuinely think they're just a downgrade, for people who couldn't swing the real exterior version. But look, after tracking the data across nearly 500 shutter installations, I can tell you straight from the trenches, that assumption is entirely 100% wrong.
Let's look at the actual breakdown here. Roughly 78% of these installs are exterior. That's the vast majority, sure. But I want you to look at that 20% interior slice. That 1-in-5 ratio, it is not a fallback option. It is absolutely not the budget choice. That 20% represents scenarios where an interior shutter was literally the exact right product for a specific category of building constraint. So the real question is, how do we know which side of the chart your building falls on?
Section 1. The baseline setup. Why exterior is the industry default.
Before we get into why interior is so crucial, we got to understand why outside is the standard starting line. When most folks picture a security shutter, they picture that exterior mount. The housing box sits right above the storefront, totally visible from the street, and the shutter rolls down on the outside of the glass. And there are 3 very logical reasons why this is the default for typical retail. Think liquor stores or gas stations. First up, it offers a highly visible physical deterrence. A burglar sees it from the street, they know the storefront is hardened, and they keep walking. Second, it's just easier to service because all those moving parts are outside. And third, if a building has a nice flat wall above the door, it's just a simpler installation. You frame a header, mount the box, and you're good to go.
Which brings us to Section 2. Listening to your building when interior is required. This is where things get really interesting, because what happens when your building doesn't have that perfect, flat, empty wall above the door? That's where real-world constraints force us to look at an interior installation, where the housing is concealed up inside your ceiling and the shutter rolls down behind your glass. An interior install usually boils down to one of 4 reasons, and man, sometimes a few of them hit you all at once. Number 1, the physical facade just literally cannot accept exterior mounts. Number 2, you're dealing with a strict commercial lease, maybe a shopping center HOA, or a city design board that absolutely forbids any exterior modifications. Going interior completely bypasses all those permission-heady headaches. Number 3, city compliance might actually require a fixed barrier specifically behind the glass. And number 4, aesthetics. Think high-end designer brands that want their storefront to look completely untouched and welcoming from the street during the day.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what those constraints look like out in the real world. Take a recent job we did at a Santa Rosa cannabis dispensary. The entire front of the building was this gorgeous rock fascia. There was literally nowhere on the outside to properly mount a heavy metal housing box. The building flat out said no, so we went interior. Or look at San Jose, where municipal rules for cannabis actually require interior shutters right in front of display cases. It's not even about the outside, it's a strict rule to ensure the product is sitting behind a fixed barrier overnight.
Moving right along to Section 3, the security reality check, busting the interior downgrade myth.
Now we really have to address the elephant in the room. Even when a building screams for an interior shutter, property owners push back. Why? Because they think it's fundamentally less secure. They'll say, well, if the shutter is on the inside, the burglar has already broken my glass. Let's unpack why that argument is technically true but operationally kind of meaningless. So the crucial point is this. A motivated burglar isn't truly stopped by either shutter, they are slowed down. The name of the game is deterrence and time. Yes, an exterior shutter stops them before the glass, but think about the psychology of an interior shutter for a second. To even reach that metal barrier, the burglar has to smash the storefront glass first. That is incredibly loud, it eats up precious time, and it draws immediate attention.
Once they've made all that racket, they're just staring down a second highly rated metal barrier. For almost all threat models, that is an incredibly effective deterrent. It is absolutely positively not a downgrade.
Section 4. Your 15-minute site walk. Assess your storefront like a pro. Now that we've totally busted that myth, I want to empower you to evaluate your own property before you ever spend a dime or even call a contractor. You can usually answer the interior versus exterior question yourself with a quick DIY assessment. Let's do a virtual site walk together right now. Step 1, literally just walk outside. Look right above your storefront. Is there a flat surface up there that could hold a box about 8 inches deep? If there's stone, ornamental details, or some giant sign in the way, exterior is going to be really tough. Step 2, pull out your commercial lease. Hunt for words like exterior modification or landlord approval. If your landlord is notoriously difficult, let me tell you, interior is your path of least friction. And step 3, walk inside and look up at your ceiling. Is there clearance above the opening to hide a box on the soffit or up in the attic?
Now, what's really interesting about this scenario is that even if you look up and think you don't have the interior space, contractors can get wildly creative. I mean, check out this real-world example from a liquor store we did in Concord. The ceiling above the door was way too low for a standard box, but an exterior install simply wasn't an option. The solution? We literally cut into the plywood roof, mounted the housing way up inside the attic space, and then patched the roof right back up. From the outside, the box is totally invisible, and the shutter just magically drops down. It's awesome.
And hey, let's talk about installation logistics for a second, because I know time is money for your business. Exterior installs can be a major logistical headache. If you've got an awning or big signs, you've got to coordinate with awning vendors to take them down and put them back up. It completely extends your timeline. Interior installs, on the other hand, are often way less disruptive. Because the work is happening above the existing ceiling or soffit, it's basically just overhead work. Most of the time, this whole thing takes about half a day, and the absolute best part for your bottom line, the store can technically remain fully open down below while the crew works up near the entryway. Huge win.
Section 5. The insurance nuance. How to talk to your broker. Okay, grab a pen and write this down, because if you are upgrading your security, you absolutely want that financial benefit on your insurance premium. But there is a massive trap here that catches a lot of business owners off guard when they go with interior systems, and it all comes down to the exact wording underwriters use. If you get an interior install, you have to make sure your insurance broker uses this exact phrase on the paperwork: interior mounted rated security shutter. See, a lot of insurance questionnaires are highly exterior biased. They'll specifically ask if you have external roll-down shutters. If you just say no or vaguely write shutter, you might completely miss out on your premium credit. The product provides the exact same rated physical barrier. You just have to make sure the paperwork accurately reflects the heavy-duty protection you actually have.
So we've walked the site, we've evaluated the constraints, and we've completely busted the downgrade myth. The big question I want to leave you with today is this: are you going to keep fighting your facade, or are you finally ready to listen to what your building is actually asking for? It is time to drop the assumption that outside is automatically better. Take 15 minutes today, look at your space through the eyes of a contractor, and let the building make the decision. Thanks so much for joining me on the site walk, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.